Doing the unthinkable, burning the boats, quitting our jobs with zero safety net. This is how we did it. This is how we succeeded and failed all in the same time. And we're going to share this story with you guys in just 1 second.
One day I want to find someone who sees the world like me.
What's going on, people? Ben and Brittany here from benandbrittany.net. Today's topic is doing the unthinkable. There was a time in our lives where we both quit our jobs at the same time with no safety net. We forced ourselves to follow our dreams and succeed. Like, we had no plan B, no safety net, nothing. We were just like, screw it, screw what everyone thinks. Everyone thinks we're stupid, we're crazy, we're dumb, we're insane, but this is the only way that we're going to be happy for the rest of our lives. So we made the decision to just say, screw it. I wanted to curse there. To just say, screw it, quit our jobs, follow our passion, and make it our living. And it all started, I was working at UPS, and you were working where?
Sterling Property Management.
That's right. Sterling Property Management. And I was unhappy because the job that I was working at was sometimes long hours, a lot of times not enough pay, sometimes short hours. It was so hit and miss. And the reason that I decided to make such a big decision was because I looked at everyone that was above me in my career path, and I just realized how miserable they were. Nobody whistled on their way into work. They would pull in to work and get out of a Cadillac Escalade and bitch all day. Like, they were just miserable people. A lot of them were divorced, unhappy, making good money, but they just seemed like they were just owned. And they had all this money, and they just had no real time to enjoy it. And I was sitting there, and I was like, I could go this route, but is that what I really, really want for myself? And the answer at the end of the day was no. I also played music in a band, and I had tried to quit and couldn't. Like, I always had that itch to play. It was a passion. It was something that I was emotionally attached to, and I couldn't get away from it no matter how hard I tried. I wanted all these things that being a musician couldn't supply me, like a house, a car, all financial stability. Yeah, I couldn't get that with where I was in my music career because I was doing it half-assed. I was working 40 hours a week and trying to make my dream happen, which is just, it's not feasible for a lot of people. Some people get lucky and they can, work while doing their career, but there's their passion. But there's very few times where somebody's career and their passion coincide, and even fewer times where one can have a career and then have their passion kind of take over seamlessly. That was just a point that's a point that I feel like a lot of people don't get to. And I realized that wasn't going to happen for me. I wasn't going to be able to work 40 hours a week and then just one day be like, oh, and now I'm making enough money with the band to quit. Like, that day wasn't going to come unless I put all of my time and energy into the band. And that's what Brittany and I did. She did the same thing. She was will tell us about your career. Like, I just told the story up until when I made the decision to quit. The day that I quit. Tell your story about up to the day that you quit.
Okay, so I had gotten into real estate a year and a half prior. I had my real estate license, but I was working for a property management company, and I did do their sales. So whenever they had like an owner, or when the owner of the company, he was a real estate agent for like 20 to 30 years. So if he had a past client want to sell a home, I would help with that. But my main focus at the time was my salary position in the office. That's what paid my bills every month. Ben and I had just signed a lease for June 1st of the year that we both quit our jobs that summer.
Signed the lease, both gamefully employed, both making decent money.
Both quit our jobs within 60 days of signing the lease.
We did the unthinkable,
with
guys.
With kids.
Like, that just sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
But at the time, it made every bit of sense to us.
And we both
we'll
had the same thought. Was like, wow, so I'm spending 30 to 40 hours a week focusing my time and energy on this office work that's making me the bare bones hourly rate, my goodness, I can't talk, the hourly rate to keep my family going. Mm-hmm. I wasn't too happy, like the environment just wasn't for me. I felt like I wasn't being challenged, like I was very bored.
Stagnant.
Stagnant.
Tread in water. That's what I felt like too.
And I worked for a small company, so they couldn't afford to pay me more. They couldn't afford for me to not be doing the salary position and take on more sales because it was just a limited amount of resources. So I was kind of hitting a ceiling where I was, and I just wasn't happy. And I knew that if I could just take the leap and do sales full time, that there was a really great potential for me to be successful, feel challenged, and still make enough money for our family to succeed. But it was like ripping off a Band-Aid. Like I had to be ready to do it, because what it did mean was unsteady income, especially in the beginning months. So whenever you're starting your real estate career, it can take up to 6 months to get paid. And that just wasn't going to cut it for our family.
Nope.
We couldn't go. I think we had enough funds in our bank account to go 2 months without a paycheck, which is not a lot. We really didn't have a ton of savings.
And
I had gone through.
But that was like, we had enough money to keep the house, keep our condo, our apartment,
and like some groceries,
and eat like ramen noodles and water.
Yeah, when I say 2 months, I mean like we weren't living the high life for 2 months. We were like scraping by.
Like if the girls got a Capri Sun, they were like, yeah. It's a good day.
Yeah, we were slim pickings for sure. But we both realized that the only way to succeed is to take a risk, because all successful people have taken a leap of faith and they did something that other people thought was crazy, and it worked out for them. So we just knew that if we put everything we had into what we were about to do, that we could do it, and we had each other to fall back on.
Yep,
emotionally.
We had each other, and that was it. Like, we made an emotional decision. Like on paper, it was a terrible decision.
On paper, especially with having children, it was stupid.
Yeah,
it was downright
especially with
stupid.
Having kids.
Yeah,
quitting your job with no real plan. Like, I wasn't going to be all of a sudden making a bunch of money with the Small Town Titans, and Brittany wasn't all of a sudden going to have clients out the booty hole. But we both knew that if we tried hard enough, we would make it happen. Something inside of us was like, it'll be fine. Like, call that insanity?
Yeah, I think maybe. It's, like, for me, I was always encouraging Ben. And Ben was always encouraging me. And I think it was because we could see the success in each other. So for example, when Ben wants to do something, he does it exceptionally well. Like he puts all of his energy into it. His drive is phenomenal, and like he will do it extremely well. And I knew that. Or at least
do my best to make it better than I can,
exactly,
than other people.
Like he's going to give it his
everything's
all.
A competition.
And I knew that he could do it. And I also knew that he was self-disciplined enough to tackle being self-employed. Because sometimes people fail with self-employment because they are not disciplined. So they don't do the tasks that they need to every day. I knew that would not be an issue for Ben. So I like pushed him, like, you're right. You need to put all your eggs in one basket, as crazy as that sounds, because I know you will do this and I know you will do it well. I felt like it was the same from your standpoint, because I kept fighting it. Like, I don't know if this is the time. What are we going to do? And then Ben just kept telling me, like, you can do it. Like, if you would just go do real estate full time, you could do so much more.
Yep.
And
I like, for, I don't know how else to say it, but like I kind of pushed you harder than maybe I should have to do it. Like, I pushed you hard.
Even my team leader, Dave Hook, who's just super successful, he even had told me, like, I don't know if I would have done what you did in your shoes.
Yeah.
Single mom, 2 kids. Like, Ben and I weren't married. He had just moved in with me,
Just moved in.
Dave.
We're paying $950 a month just to keep a roof over our heads.
Right.
In this 2-bedroom condo for us and the girls.
I had just had to file bankruptcy. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Not making very smart financial decisions. But
Yeah.
we were both at the point of, we're either going to live like this forever, middle class, stuck with this glass ceiling above our heads,
and be miserable and
be
like
miserable.
not have the carrot dangling in front of us. Like there was no, like, your life was laid out for you. You were just going to be like, wake up every day, oh well, today's Monday, it's gonna suck, see you when I get home, sweetie. Like, that kind of life just wasn't for us. We're both very driven, motivated people, and we both saw it in each other. Like, I knew I was motivated and she knew she was motivated, but the extra push of each other was what we both needed to actually do it. Because it was scary. It was insane. We didn't know if it was going to work, but we both agreed that we would risk crashing and burning to make a better life for ourselves. And that's what led us to where we are today. Looking back on it, I'm so glad we were clinically insane.
And I'm so glad that it worked out.
So glad that it worked out too.
Because,
it didn't have to work out. We, a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck, we were able to succeed. And we're not super comfortable by any means. Like, it's still like
we're still in the same condo.
Yeah, but to be a self-employed person is a never-ending. It's a never-ending thing. Like, you are always working. If you're not taking 2 steps forward, you're taking 3 steps back. And that's the way that we live our lives. But we do it for ourselves, and we get to reap the fruits of our own labor. And there's not other people reaping from us, if that makes sense. Like, we're not working for the man,
Right.
I hate saying that, but like a lot of people do. In that way, they spend their lives doing the same thing over and over again to help benefit someone else, just so they can get by and provide their family. They sacrifice their happiness for financial stability, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to be happy and financially stable, but with that comes a huge, intimidating risk, and we took it on.
We took it on, and I think we've succeeded this far. We're only in we're in year 2, so we beat year 1, which most small businesses fail within the first 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're still holding on strong, and every day we're developing more and more, and that kind of brought along the Ben and Brittany stuff. We're every day we're coming up with ways on how we can grow our businesses and continue moving forward. And it's exciting to see ourselves continually exceeding where we were last year. And it's also exciting to be able to show our girls, like, there is more to life. And now if they grow up and they want to do a 9-to-5, I'm not going to be disappointed.
No, that's perfectly acceptable. Some people are like, there are times being a self-employed person that I wish I had a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
There are certain times, because there's a comfortable factor, there's an extra freedom factor that a lot of people don't associate with having a 9-to-5. Like, they think that the self-employed person is more free, but
that's not true.
It's not true, because you can never turn off if you're self-employed. You are always working. When you have a 9-to-5, 5 o'clock comes around, you're done. You're out. You don't have to worry about nothing. Self-employed people don't have that luxury, and that's what we call it. It is a luxury to that thought off. Of being able to turn off. And like, if you lose your phone for 3 hours, it's fine. Self-employed people don't have that luxury, and there's a lot of luxuries that self-employed people do have versus the 9-to-5. We just chose this path, and
it's working.
We're very happy with it. Year 1 was our thought process was survive, 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 get our feet under us, don't die, don't lose the house, make enough money to get by, please God, holy shit. That was year one. Now
I don't know how many times I would say to Ben, I don't want to lose the apartment.
Yeah, we had a lot of nights where we reassessed our situation and we're like, do we need to get jobs?
When we had to get health insurance.
Oh my God. Health insurance was just a blind side.
Every time we have to reapply for health insurance, I just want to cry.
Yeah.
Because it's so expensive, and with such high deductibles, it's like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah, we went from getting the free health insurance to then making enough money to be ineligible for free health insurance. Mm-hmm. And that has put us right back to the same financial situation, if not worse, than we were before. Worse. Mm-hmm. Like, we're struggling more now, but we got our feet under us. We can survive. We know this.
And we have a plan.
We have a plan, and we're over that survive, holy shit phase, and now we're on to grow, because you can't stay the same. That's where we are in
we can't get
2.
stagnant.
And it's us together as Ben and Brittany. It's her as Brittany Giles, real estate agent, and it's me as Ben Giles, the guitarist of Small Town Titans. All things are moving up, and we just got to embrace it. And it's hard, but it's also in year 2. It's just so nice to be able to sit here and discuss this crazy thing that we did, and it's working. It's not easy. Don't mistake anything we're saying for becoming self-employed. And doing what we did is easy, because it's not. It was incredibly hard. Many times we wanted to, we reassessed our situation to the point where, like, we almost, like, applied for jobs.
Yeah.
Like, Brittany was like, I need to get a second job. And I was like, no, if anybody's getting a job, it's me. I'll go back to UPS. I don't care. Like, it was
Let's
hard.
talk about some of the things that we had to do. So, like, we both had to drain our 401ks.
Yes.
Because we hit a hiccup year 1 around Christmas time. Mm-hmm. I had 3 transactions either fall apart or get pushed back until spring because of major issues. So I had 2 deals that ended up not closing in December, but then later closed in March, which is really unusual for one to get pushed back that far, but leave it to me. I ran into those issues. So we had to drain our 401ks.
Yep. And Brittany was doing most of the heavy lifting at this point with her real estate, and she still is today, doing all the heavy lifting financially. And when her big transactions got pushed back,
that was scary.
It
was like legit scary. Like, okay, how are we going to pay rent? Because we also, like, I refused as a mom to not give my kids a Christmas. Now, when I say that, I didn't go crazy. Mm-hmm. We did have to stick to a very strict budget, but I still was able
to give them the magic that kids
that they deserved.
Yeah,
that they deserved. Because I just wasn't going to let it affect the girls.
No.
But
I think a lot of parents would do that too. That's why parents choose to be, unhappy with their career so they can provide their family, because that's more important, and that's still more important to us too.
It's our why. It's definitely our motivation to move forward. Ben had to have pretty much emergency root canals done. So, like, we got over the hurdle of winter and, like, that whole struggle. Then March hit, and I was like, oh, finally have some money. I had, like, 6 deals close in March. It was a really huge month. But Ben had to have an emergency root canal, 2 of them.
Yeah. That's when we learned that there are unexpected things that you just cannot plan for that will decimate your financial situation.
Right. Then one of our vehicles went out of commission in the summer. So when Ben went on tour, it was fine only having 1 vehicle, but then when he was home, being down to 1 vehicle was very difficult. I was having to give up a lot of appointment opportunities because we had to take care of the girls and take Ben to and from band practice or to and from the studio. Or he would have to take the car to go do a film, like, video shoot. Mm-hmm. And we realized, like, crap, this isn't working. So then we had to take more money that we had as a down payment for a vehicle. Because of the bankruptcy situation, I had to put a decent bit down to get it qualified for a loan. Which, hey, we were just excited that our credit had improved that much to even be able to do it. I had been
Right.
working really hard. And then just a couple other hiccups, like girls getting sick.
Doctor's bills.
What's that?
Doctor bills.
Yeah, doctor bills. Just several other unexpected expensive items. Oh, we had to. So earlier we mentioned that we had to drain from our 401ks.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you know, Ben's 401k overpaid us. So they sent, when we asked them, how much can we withdraw from this 401k? They said, oh, this amount. That's what they said. It came to us in a letter. It was all in writing. We were like, okay, great.
And I was like, word, I'll take it all.
Right. Took it all. 6 months later, they go, oops.
We overpaid you by $2,500.
We miscalculated, and we had a month to pay it.
Yeah, and it wasn't, and for some strange thing, that's not there is no, oh, well, that's your fault. You gave me this money, so now you're out $2,500. That's not how that works. It's federally regulated.
So
and
we had to pay it back.
By law, had to pay it back.
We even
and
had
it sucked.
We had our accountant looked at it. We had a couple other professionals look into it, and we did have to pay it back. So we did. And then also we had a big tax bill to pay. $5,000.
Yep, because that was year one of being self-employed, and we had...
we were barely making enough money to pay our bills, let alone set aside for taxes.
Yeah. So we learned
Rule
the hard
number
way
one.
that the government owns 30% of everything you do.
Doesn't matter that you're a single mom, because we weren't married at the time. I was a single mom on paper. As far as the government knew, I was a single mom, and my tax break was pathetic. To this day, I'm still baffled that I owed as much as I did, because I did have some paid in. I did pay some of my money into taxes. I just didn't pay enough, and I had to come up with $5,000 before April 15th. So we had a lot of huge expenses. Thank God we were able to pay them. Mm-hmm. But so those were some of our failures that we've definitely have learned from that.
Yeah.
So our goal this year is, not only do you need to make sure you're setting aside 30% for taxes, but you need to be setting aside 10%, if not more, if you can afford it. It's year one, it was almost impossible for us to set money aside extra, but that's our goal this year, is just to really build a 6-month padding. When you are self-employed, the more money you have in savings, the better. Just save, discipline yourself. It'll pay off later. You can enjoy the money later.
Yeah.
But you just don't know what can happen.
No, you don't. And just the moral of the beginning of this story is if you're thinking about doing this, just be prepared. Buckle up. It's not easy.
Yep.
And there will be a lot of unforeseen things that we can only warn you about. It's different for your life. The things that you won't be able to see, we won't be like, oh, look out for this, because that's going to happen to you. It's just unforeseen things.
I kind of feel like life was handing us these problems to test us.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
How strong are you? Are you sure you can do this? And we beat it every time.
Yeah, barely, but we beat it.
But we beat it. So I feel like we need to focus on some positives now, because I don't want to scare people away from being self-employed.
But that's the realness. I don't want to encourage anybody to go self-employed when they're not ready either, because
we don't want to sugarcoat it.
Yeah,
that's not what we do. We don't sugarcoat.
No, we tell you the truth.
But there is a movement. We didn't even know that we were part of a movement, but we are part of a movement. And it's called
a legit movement, the kind of movement that people write books about.
Yeah. So there is a self-employment movement, and I'm not talking about gig employment, like your Ubers, Lyfts, where it's temporary work, right?
No, you're talking about legitimate
self-employment. Whether it's a realtor, you're opening up your own small business, you're freelancing, you're essentially working full-time, getting a full-time income for yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay. So 27 million Americans were projected to leave their full-time jobs from 2017 through the end of 2020, bringing the total self-employed count in America to 42 million. Okay?
Wow.
That compares to 126 million Americans working full-time for companies. 97% of those working for themselves as self-employed plan to never return to traditional work.
That's us.
Yep, absolutely. And what I found, or what I thought was the most interesting, was the reason for going self-employed. So it's not about having more free time, which I think is what a lot of people think it is. A lot of people are like, oh, when you work for yourself, you have like all this free time. It's not true. You don't have a lot of free time.
That's a myth. That is a common misconception with self-employment. Yeah. A lot of people think that that's what they're going to achieve.
You work like double the time.
Yeah, you work. Yeah, if you're working 40 hours a week now, be prepared to work 60 or 70 when you're self-employed.
Or 80.
Yeah,
or more.
Yeah.
But, the main reason for people going self-employed is so they can choose who they work with client-wise and what they do. And that's like their ultimate happiness. Like, I don't care if I have to work 80 hours a week.
If I love doing the work that I do, it's not work. If I
love doing what I do and I love the people that I'm working with. And that's like so important to me, because being a high producing real estate agent, I get to pick my clients. So if I come across someone that like just their personality and mine just don't mesh, it's okay for me to pass it on to another agent that I think will work better for them. Because I'm not worried about where my next paycheck is coming from, because I know that I'm going to be working enough that I can wait until a different client comes along.
Yeah.
Whereas when I worked for a big company, I didn't have a choice. Like, if they said you're working for this, like you're going to help this person buy a house, like when I worked for Sterling, I had to do it.
Yeah.
If I had to show, an apartment to a tenant, like even if I didn't like them or I felt uncomfortable, like I had to do it. I don't have to do that anymore. And just like you don't have to go work and do something that you despise doing. Like, you get to do something that you love every day. And that's why we can wake up at 5 a.m. and not like hate life.
And we both get to help people, improve people's quality of life. Like, it's more rewarding than
it's more work,
than it is
but
energy
more
sucking. Yeah, more work but more rewarding. Like, there's a give and take to everything. This is just a path that we chose, and we're very happy with it. But what other information have you dug up?
The other interesting thing was that actually, most of the self-employed people are over the age of 60, and it's just they didn't want to retire, but now realize that they had an opportunity to work for themselves.
I think that's the same thing though. That's just be like coming upon your passion later in life, like when it made more sense to them.
Right.
Like, they're 60 years old, they don't have anything to do now, so now they do their passion.
I'm happy that we were able to find that sooner. I feel like how many people are unhappy and having to wait that long. And I hate to be a pessimist, but not everybody reaches retirement.
That's true.
Like, I hate to say that, but things happen. I would just hate to live my life waiting for retirement to do something that I want to do, because that's not guaranteed.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
And then
we just kind of, it all goes back to the leap of faith. Like, what we did on paper was not smart, but we did it for the reasons that we didn't want to wait to do what we wanted to do with our lives. Like, the life is short.
Yep. And the one thing that they're saying that's like pushing the self-employment movement, kind of back to what we were saying, is climbing the corporate ladder is no longer the American dream. There's been a significant mindset shift, and I agree. Like, I definitely think this is us. And it's emerged that people value flexibility over stability. And what do I think that? I think what that means is, if you are a company, you work for a company, maybe you're a manager, maybe you have a business and you have employees. If you want to keep those employees, like if you're looking at employee retention,
make them happy.
You got to make them happy, and by making them happy is being more flexible. So, okay, quit setting these hours of like 9 to 5. Maybe you need to do 10 to 6. Let kind of employees figure out their own hours. I think you're going to start to see corporations start incorporating more flexibility and like task-based assignments versus hours present. Yep. To be able to keep employees. Otherwise, you're going to keep seeing this increase in self-employment happen over the next few years. And I wonder, and now I'm just thinking out loud, I didn't read this in an article, but we went from mom and pop shops to like this surge in big box stores and huge companies.
Yeah.
And like now I'm wondering if we're cycling back. Like everything always happens in cycles.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if, there's been also a movement, I feel like, to shop small again.
Yeah.
I wonder if because there's a surge in self-employment, if we'll start to see some of these bigger companies maybe falter because people are going to start going back to small stores and supporting self-employed people
because they themselves are self-employed and they get it.
They understand.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I am. Like, there's a small, tiny hole of a guitar shop down in Carlisle that I love to go to because there's two guys that work there that I've gotten to know. They're good people, and I'd rather give them my money than Guitar Center because I'm self-employed. Clearly, they are too. That's their shop.
You share a passion. It's not just somebody in high school, no offense, because we've all been there, but it's not just somebody in high school, like, needing a part-time job working at a cash register.
Yeah, which is totally fine. A lot of people have to do that at that point in their lives.
Yep.
We were just...
I was there once before, too, but...
Yeah, we all were.
Just saying.
Maybe the world is changing.
It would be nice. Yeah. I mean, we had that podcast talking about technology taking our positions. I don't think that'll happen because I just feel like...
There's always going to be a need for some sort of human element to everything.
Yeah.
And if there's technology doing something really well over here, there's going to be a group of people that prefer the human element. Like,
And I just think there's going to be, if there's a growing mindset shift of people wanting to be self-employed, I also would think that there would be a growing respect for people who are self-employed and successful.
That's true. I believe that because there's definitely a correlation. Like, you're like-minded people.
Right.
It could be
interesting.
I'm glad to be a part of this movement.
Me too. I'm normally not a big movement person, but I'm super excited to be a part of that one.
I do believe in it. I believe in specialization. I do believe that I wish that I would have started what I do now earlier in life, like playing guitar, using a camera, doing podcasts, all these things I wish I started earlier, but the path that I chose in life kind of led me to start it now.
Yep.
And I think that specialization is very important. I went to a liberal arts college, which is a well-rounded thing. You get a good general education in many different facets. And I, having gone through that, would actually have preferred specialization, learning a skill, a trade, something that you can be really, really good at, better than everyone else. That is that's what drives self-employment, specialization. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people that are self-employed are, freelance camera people or podcasters or musicians or people that make furniture, woodworking. These little special skills that allow them, that like not a lot of people have, that allow them to be self-employed and be competitive in a marketplace because it's not oversaturated. And I think if we all do that,
and a lot of contractors are able to work for themselves, like electricians and plumbers. Like, they open up their own businesses.
Real estate agents,
yeah. Obviously.
Clear.
We always have a broker above us, but we are independent. We are self-employed. We are in charge of our own marketing and creating our work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just find it fascinating, and I think we chose the right path. Eventually, one thing that Ben and I want to do, because it has been hard, going through self-employment, especially like the startup, if you will.
Yeah.
So one thing that we want to do is provide templates and links to stuff that we use to help us with self-employment. For example, like, I have budgeting spreadsheets that I've created for us. For both like family budget and then our business budgets. We want to be able to share those with you guys. Yep. And if they're all set up by the time this video is released, check the links in the description. If you're on YouTube, we will link them there and we'll give them to you for free. These are things that Brittany has created that have helped us in 2020 live our lives as self-employed people. If you guys are those people, check them out. I mean, it's not going to cost you anything. If you choose to use it, awesome, and we're glad we can help. If there's any other way we can help, let us know. Yep, we'd love to do that. And I think on our website we're going to have like a tab of just free resources, things that are free so you don't have to pay for them, but that can help you. some books that I've read that I felt were really motivating and just helped me keep going during hard times or give me fresh ideas.
Things that have helped us remain motivated in hard times, which is something that you need in order to become self-employed. The first year of self-employment is where a lot of people fail, and without those extra little boosts of like other people kind of like telling you, hey, like this sucks, it's hard, but you can do it if this then that kind of thing, those have really helped us, and we're super stoked to be able to help anyone in the situation that we were in. We're coming out of it, and we're looking back, and we want to share everything that we've been through, all of our struggles and failures. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. I think the moral of this whole podcast is, if you're thinking about being self-employed or quitting your job to do something that you love, first, I'd ask you to think again, only because it is hard. If you think that you can make it work, if you are able to get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, no problem, every day, and get straight to work, then I think you have a good chance of succeeding. You have to work harder than you ever did before. It's not a luxury to quit your job and become self-employed. That's when you're at the bottom of the mountain when you quit your job. The only way to the success is at the top. Like, it's a long road. But if you have that passion, you have the skill, you have the drive, you're leaps and bounds above everyone else, and that's why we were able to make it all work. Like, we both had the passion, we had the drive, we had each other, which is huge.
We believed in ourselves and we believed in each other.
Yeah.
And that was the whole reason why we even made the leap in the first place. And I think too, we always remember our why.
Our why.
You know, and you need to remind yourself, like, why am I doing this? And who are you doing it for?
So ask yourself that. Why? What is your why? Why are you thinking about quitting your job to do your passion?
And for those of you who know our scroll, like, we get out our scroll a lot so that way we can be like, okay, look at all that we were able to accomplish. Look at all the things that we still want to do. The only way that we can do these things is if we can fund it. And the only way we can fund it is if we work our asses off. For sure. Day in, day out. There are no sick days. And that's just, just letting you guys know, like, you can do it. It is hard. If you're passionate, go for it. What's the worst that happens? You crash and burn. You're back at where you were. And I always ask people, if not now, when? When? Don't wait until retirement, because that's not guaranteed. Nope. That's when you're too tired. Yeah. But anyway, we hope this podcast and this discussion helped you in any way. That's awesome if it did. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to do. That's our passion. Weigh in the comments below. Let us know how you feel. Where are you at? Where are you in your life? Is this something you're thinking of? Is this something you've ever thought of? Like, let us know. Let's talk about it, because we're passionate about helping others live the lifestyle that we live, because we created it and we love it so much. So let us know how you guys feel. If there's anything we can do to help, feel free to get in contact with us. You can text Ben and Brittany to 717-422-8318, and we will text you right back. That is our number. We will just want to help. You'll be added to our email list, and you can join our community, and we can discuss about all these different things that happen in life, and we'll just go through it together. Right? Exactly. Yeah. No one's alone. No one's alone. We're here. We'll help in any way that we can. Just let us know. Ben and Brittany to 717-422-8318. And is there any closing thoughts from you, Miss Brittany? I don't think so. I think that's it. All right, cool. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for your continued support, and we'll see you guys in the next podcast.